I got a call from one of my customers and said, Russell, you're the best salesman we've ever seen. Would you please come and be our VP of sales? He said, but there's a caveat. We're going to sell the company in a year. What do you think you can do? I said, I don't know. We'll find out. So he hired me. I came in, and actually turned out to be 18 months. I took him from $1.1 million in sales to over $7.5 million in 18 months. Now, don't think I'm so great. It had nothing to do with me. They had a great product. They had a huge customer base and a real crappy sales team. Okay? We're going to talk about why a little bit. We talked about why following me, because I've done it. I've done it over and over again. I've almost got a cookie cutter because I know what I have to do. I actually went in and interviewed for a VP position, about 3 years ago, and I told the guy, he said, do you think you can do this? I said, dude, I could do this in my sleep. Because he had a great product, been around a long time, large install base, and a real crappy sales team. So I knew I could do that. Gary Vaynerchuk is almost the opposite of this. Gary Vaynerchuk says, if you're going to build a successful business, you are going to work your fanny off. Period. End of story. None of this 4-hour work week. But what Timothy Ferriss has to say, which is really important, he owned this big business and he's doing millions of dollars, and the guy's having a nervous breakdown because he's working 80 hours a week. I mean, the guy's just absolutely balls to the walls, working his tail off. And then finally he says, his doctor says, you either go on vacation or you're going to die. So he goes off on vacation, comes back, and his business is bigger. And it's like, oh my gosh. So he sat back and he did a little bit of analysis and figured out how to restructure his business to get him down to 4 hours a week. I think most business owners, successful business owners, are working more than 40. They'd be happy just to get down to 40, okay, much less 4. I find most people in business, if you don't have a job, if you're a business owner, self-employed, you're wasting half of your time. I know that because I see it over and over again. When I consult with companies, especially the presidents, CEOs, the people that are really movers and shakers, what are they doing? They're spending most of their time on things that don't matter. Okay? It's the old 80-20. So what are the 5 major reasons the sales team sucks? First of all, and foremost, I see this over and over and over again, they take their best salesman, and what do they do to him?
Put him in charge.
Pardon?
Put him in charge.
They put him in charge. They make him the sales manager. All right, can we be honest here for a second? Salesmen have the attention span of a gnat, okay? It's like herding cats. They're super independent. Generally speaking, I found they're very smart. Why? Because they're really good at manipulating people, okay? So why would you take somebody like that and make them a manager? Wrong decision. It just doesn't work out. My background, I came from as a project manager. Processes, procedures. But I was also kind of sales-ish. So I also knew that most of the process and procedures, they suck too. So I didn't like the ideas of those. But you need a little bit of structure. The point is, this isn't the guy to do it. Lastly, you got your salesman doing everything but selling. Okay? Here's the definition of sales. Sales is that time you spend in front of somebody that's qualified to say yes.
Amen.
Right? That's what sales is all about. Yet, most salespeople are doing everything but that. They're organizing their business cards. They're filling out reports. They're going to sales meetings. My gosh. Why have a sales meeting if nobody's paying attention? Everybody else is thinking about everything else but sales, right? Themes. Here's the big problem, especially with entrepreneurs. A lot of us go by our gut. We're not bit and bite kind of people. We're not super detailed. If we were, we'd have an accounting job, right? Okay, or something on that order. The hard part is not to go, I think I know what the answer is. And you stop analyzing, you stop looking at it, stop looking at the data, because you got a gut feeling, my gosh, you're used to going by your gut. Wrong. Not a good thing to do. That's what I do, okay? And every time it bites me in the butt. So it's not a good thing. I asked the salesman, what are your most profitable products? They didn't know. They didn't care because they were getting paid on sales. And they were only paid on the initial commission. What do you think that cost? Nobody was calling the customers back, right? Right now, okay? I got to tell this story. Okay, so I came in, I made a list of the top 100 customers, and I started at the top. Called up the main person, and I said, look, we screwed up, okay? You're our customer. We should be kissing your feet and taking good care of you, and we have screwed up royally. Would you allow me to take you out to dinner or out to lunch, and I just want to hear you bitch about our company. That's it. I'm not selling you anything. I just want to hear you complain. How many of those 100 customers said, no, I don't want to go out with you? So I limit to a couple of days. If I can't document it in a couple of days, they're in a way of hurt anyway, right? Okay? And I do not want to document the BS that management thinks is happening. I want to find out what's really happening. So who is a good person to document this? I like to take a newbie, a new salesman, or the worst salesman, and say, see Joe over here? Joe's our top salesman for a reason. You go follow him around, and I want you to document everything he does. And I tell Joe, I said, Joe, you're golden, man. Okay? I love you. You're my new best friend because you're the best salesman. So I want this ding-a-ling here to figure out if he can learn half of what you do and can do half the amount of sales, we're rocking. Is that a deal? And besides, take Friday off. He says, sure, let's go ahead and do that. Okay. Startups, my favorite subject. Let's talk about startups. You're a one-man show. You got an idea. Right now, I'm building 2 companies. Capulus Roasters, which is a coffee roasting company. I provide for drive-throughs and coffee shops, and if I ever do get one of those customers, that's what I'll provide for. But up to this point, it's been all retail online, which is great because it doesn't take any time. Okay, I also own fundraisercoffeeclub.org. That's working with nonprofits. That one, I was at a meeting, I'm selling coffee, and some gal says, you ever thought about doing fundraisers? Sure, I can do that. Right? It's a typical entrepreneur answer. I can do that. And that has really taken off. So we're now, anybody here familiar with Tesh in town? Yeah, okay, they're now going to be selling our coffee, and they get $5 per bag that's sold. And it's a subscription rate, so people sign up for a monthly subscription. The point is, all of this is new to me. And you can't screw up when you're brand new. Who's going to know? And you really, in my opinion, the first year, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know your product. You don't know your customers. You don't know how to find your customers. You don't know how to deliver your product. You don't know anything. That's fine. Entrepreneurs, what's the definition of entrepreneurship? The original French.
Lobotomy?
No. It's French for risk taker. So that first year, I always know I'm going in and I'm not going to make squat the first year. So I know that going in. And I also know it's a year of testing. It's a year to find out and I promise you, you take a look at just about any very successful business around, they are not even in the same industry they started in. The point is, over and over again, you hear stories of people, they don't end up where they start out. So you have to be flexible in your business to be able to go, okay, I think I'm a realtor. I think I'm selling houses. And eventually evolve into figuring out you're really selling something else. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I got it. Okay, so I got that. So I limit my planning to 1 page. If it can't get fit on an 8.5 by 11 at 14 pitch, I'm not going to do it, right? And it really comes down to me identifying clearly what's my product, who's my customer, okay? And then I want to know my goal for the year, my goal for the quarter, my goal for the month, my goal for the week, okay? And then I break down each project, and I'll talk about this later, into action items. And each action item cannot take me more than 2 hours. Okay, because I'm probably not going to work on my business more than 2 hours a day. I'll work in my business, but not on my business. And that's the important thing. How many successful people in business, backtrack, how many people in business do one really important thing each day? Not many. Okay, very successful people, what makes them different is they're working on the important stuff. And they get something important done every single day. One of the ways I built sales teams is I would hire 3, fire 2. Hire 3, fire 2, hire 3, fire 2, hire 3, fire 2. Man, I had awesome A team. We were kicking Fanny. and then I bailed, right? I built my team. I'm done. Next company, right? You can't sustain that. The problem is, it's a cutthroat environment when you do that. People don't have any loyalty to the company. That's why I'm not a big fan of commission. Okay? Commission's fine in certain situations in industries. When you're building a team, and I build teams, I don't like commission. What I like is I like giving them a salary, a good size salary that'll keep them on board, and then, give them bonuses based on the team performance and the company performance, period. But they're not going to make 2-3 times what everybody else makes in the company. All right? I want a team. And a lot of times, salesmen that are motivated by money scare the daylights out of me. I don't trust them, frankly. But if they want to be part of a team, part of an organization, part of, it's a stretch to say a family, but they feel comfortable there, and yet you have everything else in place for them to have the motivation, great. I did my study, but if you think about it, any industry really boils down to about 20 terms. You find the definitions of those 20 terms, and you throw those out at the right places and the right times, you can sound like you know what you're talking about, right? It's only 20 terms in most industries. So I can teach sales. I can teach the technology. What I can't teach is character. That's what I'm hiring. I'm hiring people of character. Chuck comes walking in. He's built like a mountain. He's all shoulders, skinny little waist, and all muscles. He used to be on a SWAT team, 2nd degree black belt. Never sold a thing in his life. He was my top sales rep all the time. Why? Character. Chuck knew his stuff.